Hello guys, and welcome to part 3 of AutoCAD. In this part we are covering units, and then we will cover layers, and then we will cover blocks. We will cover how you can write text in AutoCAD, and then we will finish with printing. Okay, so that is what we will cover today, and then we will be done. Okay, units. If I start with units, so in AutoCAD, I have not specified what units we have been using. So the units we have been using are the default units right now. I didn't mention about the units at any part. So this is the part where I'll mention units now. So if you want to access the units, what you do, you just type units and then hit enter. You will see this table here called drawing units. So there's a part for length and then there's a part for angle. So if I want to change the type of my unit for length, I'll just come to the drop down here. I can select either architectural units, decimal units, engineering units, fractional units, or scientific units. So decimal comes by default. These are the units that we use here in our country. These are the units in terms of meters, millimeters, centimeters. Okay, so if you specify something else like engineering units, you realize they are different from the meters and the centimeters. They may change to inches now and so on and so forth. So decimal units is the standard units we use in our country. So I would want to keep these as decimal units. And then the precision is the decimal places. So if you want your units to be more precise, you can add more decimal points. The standard decimal units are 4, so you can keep them as 4 if you want. Again, if you don't want decimal units, you can just select the 0 here, and then you will not have any precision for the decimal places. So the other table here is for the angles. So the type you can see this is decimal degrees by default. You can adjust this to degrees, minutes, and seconds. You have heard about degrees, minutes, and seconds, I know. Then we have grads and the radians here and the surveyors units for the angle. Decimal degrees are the angles we know. Angles in terms of maybe 60 degrees, 120 degrees. If you change to degrees, minutes, and seconds, then it will give degrees and some minutes and then some seconds. Then precision for the angle, you can also put some precision if you want, but I will just keep it at 0. This is the decimal points that the angle will come with. Maybe if you want to be more precise, you can put the decimal points. Then this checkbox here, clockwise, you can see it says calculates positive angles in the clockwise direction. The default direction for positive angles is counterclockwise. So if you want to change maybe the default direction for positive angles, you can check this box so that now your angles can start opening clockwise. But I'll just advise you guys to leave it as it is right there. So insertion scale here, you can see it's saying that controls the measurements of blocks and drawings that are inserted into the current drawing. A block or a drawing that is created with units that are different from the units specified with this option is scaled when inserted. The insertion scale is the ratio of the units in the source block or drawing, and the units is used in the tangent drawing. So what this insertion scale is, if you are importing a file, or you have a file that is not part of your work, this is where you set up the insertion scale units. So I would love to keep this one as meters because meters is the standard units. So this one will work if you insert some content to your work, but it's good that you have it in meters. Perhaps you just want to keep it in meters, or maybe it will also depend on what you are inserting. Okay, so this one I'll just leave it as it is, and then I will click OK. So I have now specified my units very well and very clearly. Now I can do a drawing, and then I can just come and measure, and then my units will be in meters, in decimal degrees, if we have angles, and then decimals if I am having length. Okay. So that is about units. Now let us talk about layers now. So layers, just like we did in the previous class of ArcGIS, we covered layers. Layer is something that comes on the top of the other. So if you are to create a layer, uh, one layer will come on top of the other. So the best way to understand layers is to view them as maybe as transparent papers that have been stacked together, with each paper with its own content. So that is a layer. They form a layer. And the reason I'm saying transparent is because the layer that is at the bottom, kabisa, you will be able to view it. Because even if you have 3 more layers, you will still view the layer which is at the bottom. So that is why I'm saying you can visualize them as transparent papers that have been stacked together. Uh, so those are the layers. So if you come here to the layer properties, you can see it is checked, and that is why it is appearing here. I somehow clipped it here. It may not really appear here. Sometimes it may just appear in your screen. You can just drag and put it here. So that is what I did. So layer properties, if I uncheck it, you see it disappears. And then when I check it, it now reappears. So these are the properties where I can start drawing my layers from. I'm inserting my layers and modifying my layers. It is called Layer Properties Manager. So if I want to draw, by default, AutoCAD will have a 0 layer. So this is the first layer that you will be drawing on, the 0 layer. But I advise you guys, when you start drawing in AutoCAD, ensure just you create a new layer here. So you just come and create a new layer here. And then maybe if you want to draw something like a shape, okay? So maybe something like a shape. So let me call this shape just the name shape. And then I can hit enter. So this shape, in this layer called shape, I want to draw some shape. So that shape, I will only draw in this layer when this tick right here is on the shape. Right now it is on layer 0. And that means that when I come here, this is the layer 0 that is selected. It is the one that is active here. If I draw on my working space, I will be drawing on layer 0. And that is why it is ticked. So if I want to change to shape, if I want to draw to that layer of shapes, what I will do, I will just come here to this layer and expand this one, and then select shape. You can see now the tick has moved to that layer of shape. So I can draw now in this layer. So if I draw something in this layer, maybe some kind of a polyline with some units like maybe 15. Okay, let me draw something very basic, maybe 5, and then 10, 5, and then I can draw something else here, 10. So again, 5, 7.5, so let's say 5, sorry, 5. So so if I have a shape like this one, this shape is drawn in this layer. It is not drawn in 0 layer. Okay. So this shape here, let me do some offset of this shape. Offset distance of maybe 1. Then 1 looks too much. Okay, so this is a shape I have right here. So this shape has been drawn in a layer called shapes. In this layer, in this working space, I can draw another layer. Maybe this layer I can call it, assuming these are some shape. Maybe these are a shape of maybe a floor plan. So let me assume it is a floor plan. Maybe I want to include in this floor plan, I want to include the divisions of my rooms. What I can do, I can come here and create a new layer and I call it rooms, okay? So when I draw rooms, I will draw them in a different layer. So I will just come and select the layer here as rooms, and then I will start drawing. You realize when I select rooms as my current layer, uh, this layer will not move away because sometimes I may want to draw rooms by following what the layer that I have from shapes. So this layer does not disappear, but when I draw, it will not be in the shape. It will be in the layer of rooms. So if I draw this one, let me draw some divisions, some random divisions for rooms. So I can draw. So I'm drawing rooms right now. So that is another room there. So I'm also drawing another room here. I'll also draw another room here. So I'm drawing on this layer of rooms. Let me draw the last room here. Uh, okay, so I have drawn rooms, and you can see now my layer, my floor plan now has rooms. This could be a bedroom, this could be a kitchen. I mean, it could be anything. So because now I have drawn my rooms in a different layer, that means I can edit my rooms differently, and I can edit the original shape also differently. That is why it is important to create layers. I can also create another layer. This one I can call it labels. And then in this layer of labels, we will label uh, this as a bedroom, this as a living room, this is as a kitchen, something like that. Okay, so I can also create another layer. Maybe I want uh, doors. Okay, so let's say doors. So I want a door somewhere. So I can come to this and select doors, and I want to draw a door somewhere. Maybe I want to draw a door here. So I will not draw a door the way people of architecture do. I'll just draw something for the sake of you guys understanding. I'll draw something very, 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 something very, something very what? So I can use that as 3 units. Can use that as uh, 3 again. So I'm drawing a door people, CL. Okay, so I have drawn a door here. So this is not how we draw doors, but I'm just drawing that for the sake of illustration. I can draw another door here. So I'll start from here, then 3, then I'll snap it there, again 3, and then So I have drawn 2 doors here. So in the layer of doors, I have drawn something. In the layer of labels, I have not done labels yet. I will come to that. In the layer of rooms, I have drawn some rooms, and in the layer of shape, I have drawn the this shape that we started with. So I want to show you some things from this layer properties manager that will help you understand better. So from this layer properties manager, let me expand it so that you can see. Okay, this is the part of name, the layer name. And then there's a part that follows here that says on. So this is where I can switch a layer on and off. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll just show you guys how you can switch off on and off these layers. So this is what I will do. I have drawn in rooms, shapes and doors. So I'll make label my default layer because I cannot freeze the layer that is currently default. Because I don't have anything in labels, I will make it the default layer. Okay, so if I want to turn the doors on and off, I can use these icons here. If I want to freeze doors, I can use this icon here, the one for the door. If I want to change the color of this door, I can use this one and change it from white to something else. If I want to change, again, the doors, the line type of the door, maybe I want to make it dotted, I can use this one here, and so on and so forth. The same case for labels, but because labels is our default, if I try to turn it off, you realize it will first tell me that the current layer will be turned off. So do you want to do that? So sometimes you may want to turn off you may not want to turn on off the current layer. Maybe it could be a mistake because if it is a current layer, you don't want it to be off. And then these are the same thing you can do to rooms. You can turn rooms on and off. And if I turn my rooms on, off, you realize the rooms disappear. The same case to shape. If I turn the shape off, you realize it disappears. If I turn the doors off, you realize the doors will disappear. So the only thing that has not disappeared here are the rooms. Okay, I turned them on. So yeah, you see they have disappeared. So that is how you can turn layers on and off. So let me bring them back by turning them on. So when you turn on and off, you will make them disappear. Perhaps you want to edit rooms, but this layer here of shape is giving you problems. So you can turn the layer off so that it can give you a good space of editing your rooms alone, okay? And then there's this part of freezing. To freeze, it will work the same way as, let me turn these ones on again. It will work the same way as on. It will make things disappear. If I click on rooms, for example, they will disappear. But the good thing with freeze is that it will freeze also the memory from loading these layers. Sometimes the layers may be memory intensive and they will keep loading. So if you want to work faster and freeze the layers you are not working with, so you can freeze them so that you can be able to work faster, okay? So freezing will also clear the memory. It will help you guys to work on things faster with less memory. So these things will not be loading in the background and occupying more memory. Okay, so that is freezing. You can freeze shape as well. You can freeze the door as well. So that is kind of the difference between this turning on layer, this layer turning a layer on and off, and freezing. That is the difference between the two. For the color, you may want to have a layer with a different color. So if I want, for example, my door to be in a different color, I can click there and I just select a color there, and then the doors will be labeled in that color. You can see the color for the doors has changed. Okay, so if I want to do my rooms in a different color, I can do the same. I can come here and give my rooms some different coloring. You can see now the color has changed. And then the shape, I will retain that white. Okay, So you can see now there has been some bit of styling in this diagram right here. So that we do using layer properties manager. Okay, so you can add layers. I can add a layer for furniture. If I want to put some furniture in here, I can add a layer for furniture. I can add a layer for stairs. I can add a layer for anything else that I want to include in my scene right here. Okay, so that is now the layers now. So there's something I want to mention on layers called isolate. So I can isolate a layer. For example, I want to edit doors, and these other layers are giving me a problem. I can isolate the door, and then I can be left with the door only, and the rest shall be isolated so that they are not edited. Okay. So if I want to isolate, I can use this button right here called isolate. I can click. And once you click on isolate, it will tell you select the object on the layer you want to isolate. So if I want to isolate those, for example, I can just click this right here, and then I will hit enter. You realize the other layers, if I move my cursor to the other layers, there will be a lock there showing that that layer has been locked. So the layer with doors, you can see that layer is very active. So I can now edit the layer of doors comfortably without being disturbed by these other layers. And you can see they have faded away. Okay. And watch what happens here in these layer properties. These ones are locked. And then this one is unlocked, meaning these ones, they have been locked. That is why they are fading away and they cannot be edited. Now you can work on those comfortably without being disturbed by the rest of the things in that layer. Okay, so you can do that manually also by just, sorry, before I explain that, I can just come here and show you guys how to unisolate. There's an icon for that, for unisolate. I can just click on it, and then you can see these layers have been unisolated now. If I want to isolate, I can do that manually by locking the layers that I don't want, and then leaving the layer that I want unlocked. So you may do that, but again, it may take you guys time. Maybe you have a bunch of layers. You have to do them one by one, locking and unlocking. That is why we have the isolate to help you work that way faster. So I will talk about blocks now. I am done with layers. So blocks, for example, let's say I want to draw something. In this scene, I want to draw something. Okay, maybe I want to draw this door. I want it to open. I want to illustrate to the person who is viewing this model that this door is opening somehow in that direction or that direction. So if I use a circle, for example, to draw, and then I can draw that circle here in the door and also here in this door, so that the one who is viewing my model can know this door is opening in a circular way. So if I open this door, it will be rotating in 360. I can do that. Okay. So what I will do, there's a layer here called the zero layer. We have not drawn anything in the zero layer yet. So I want to draw something in my zero layer. So I'll just come here and select the zero layer. So now I will draw in the zero layer. I will draw a circle. So let me draw a circle of 1.5 radius. So this circle right here, I can move it here. Okay. So what that circle I want it to indicate is that this door is opening in a circular manner. It is opening in a circular manner. Maybe I want to illustrate that. So the purpose of blocks, what they do is that they can convert an object to a single unit. So if I want this to be part of my door and I have a door drawn right here and I want this circle here to be part of my door, I can use blocks to edit that. Okay, so because now I have drawn this in my zero layer, what I will do, I will come to the layer of doors. So I will come to the layer of doors and I will pick this door right here. I will select that door in the layer of doors, and then I will move that door to the zero layer first. So let me move that door to the zero layer first. I have, by the way, shown you guys how to move an object from one layer to the other. You select it, and then once you select it, you can just come here and click the layer you want your selected object to move. So I wanted to move it from doors to zero layer. So I have clicked and the door has moved now to zero layer. In fact, it will adapt the color of the zero layer. You see now it has changed from this color here to white because now it has moved from that layer with that color to a layer with a different color. So that is how you move objects from one layer to the other. So this door, I have moved it to the zero layer. Now I want to use blocks so that I can convert this door and this circle here into one unit, okay? Because blocks are used to convert objects to a single unit. So I can come here and I create my block, and you can see now the block definition table is right here with me. I can specify my pick point as the midpoint right here. And then I can just hit, okay, perhaps I can name my layer here as door. Maybe let me call this door 3 because I have done several doors. So let me do door 3 and then, okay. So this now, these objects now in layer 1, you realize now, let me move them here so that you guys can be able to see them. Sorry, I have stretched that. I didn't want to stretch it. Okay, something I'm trying to do here. Bear with me. Okay, so this door right here, I want to move it to my circle here. So I'll just select that as my base point and I will move it there. So this door here, I want it to be a block. Okay, so I'll just come and create. And then I can specify this as my pick point. Once I'm done, I can name this door as door 3. Okay, so I can say, okay, you realize there's an error here that says there is no object that was selected. So I may want to select the objects first before I create that block. So let me do that again. So I will come there and I will name that as door 3. Okay, so and then I can hit OK, and then I can continue. So I had door 3. So that is why it said the door 3 has, do you want to replace door 3? And then I said, okay. So this block right here, I can now comfortably move it back to the layer doors. Oh, sorry, I was working on a layer doors. So let me go back to layer 0. Yes, so it is one block now. So if I want to move this now to copy it to the respective positions for the door, I can just select it and move it to doors first. So you can see it has changed the color now. It has adapted to the color of the door. So I can now use the command of copy, and then I can copy this block. So I can copy this block here. The door was here. I use that as my base point, no problem. So I can copy that door here, and I can also copy the same door here, and then can hit enter. Now you realize I have moved this door now with the circle here as a block. Sometimes I may want to edit this block. This is where you will understand why we needed that block. So in edit, I want to edit my door 4 here. And you realize it opens a new window, a window maybe you have never seen before, you have never interacted with before in AutoCAD. This is the window it opens here. So in this window, it has its own new controls. And these controls are different from the controls that we are previously using. You can see it has introduced a new block editor tab here with all these new controls here. So in this place, I can edit my block. Maybe I want this door here. Maybe this one was not in the midpoint as I wanted it. I can move it now, maybe to the midpoint. Maybe there. Perhaps I may also want to add something else. Maybe I may want to add a circle to my door so that it looks something like that. This one will not look like a door, but I'm just doing this for the sake of illustration. So once I'm done editing my door, I will just close that, and then I can save the changes to door 4. And you can see now, door 4 is one block. So everything that was part of door 4 here changed. And you can see now the circle that we have just drawn in the middle has appeared in all blocks with this door 4, with this change that we have made to door 4. So that is why it is important to have blocks. They help you edit things more faster. Okay. So now let us go to printing. So before we go to printing, I may want to delete these. So we will look at, before we look at printing, let us look at texts. So these are a command for texts. Right here in my bar, I can select a single line text or a multi-line text. I will start with single line text. So the first thing you do is you specify the first point of your text. Maybe I want my text to start from here. I click there. So the next thing I will specify is the height. You can see that. Maybe I want it to be that high. And then you can see the next thing it says is the polar. This is the direction. Which direction do I want my text to go? Maybe I may want it to go this way. I may want it to go this way. I may want it to go this way. So the direction, I will just stick to the horizontal. And once I'm done, you can see now the cursor has come. That will allow me to type. For example, I can call this mudroom. I may want to move. If I click here, the cursor will move to that place. So maybe this one could be the maybe the laundry space. Okay, so I can type here laundry space. This can be a master bedroom. I'm just giving some random names. This one could be kitchen. Okay, and then this one could be maybe the living room. Okay, so once I'm done, I can just hit enter, and you can see now I have labeled my diagram using texts. I can do multi-line texts, but this one will have a different way of putting it up. It says specify the first corner. If I want to specify this as my first corner, it opens this triangle and I can specify the opposite corner. So the opposite corner here, if you adjust it to be long, it will allow you to type a long text If you keep it short, it will only type short texts. Okay. If I put it there, you see now it comes with this thing here, this bar right here in the top. This one is the way it will appear when you start typing multiple line texts. And you can see the top bar has changed here. This panel has changed, and now you can see there are various ways I can edit this text here. You can see these bullet and numbering, these line spacing, these, I mean, all this editing that has come from this text editor tab that has opened right here. You can use that to modify your text the way you want. You can write anything and it will be a multi-line text. It can move to the next line. And you can see I am typing something here. Just for the sake of you guys understanding. Okay, so I'm done typing. So I just wanted you guys to see that it is moving to the next line, and when you are typing and it reaches this limit, it will just drop that name to the next line. So I just wanted you guys to see that. So I'll just undo everything I wrote here. And okay, so I don't want to have that. I'll just close that edit. I don't want to have it because I don't need it right now. So that is how you can write texts in AutoCAD. So the next thing we will work on is printing now. What if I want to print these? By default, we are in model. I can change to layout here. And if you don't see these three controls, that means you just need to come to the view and tick the layout tabs. They could be off like that. You can tick them on. You can see when they are off, they have disappeared. You can tick them, they will come back. And then from here, you can select the layout. And you can see now it has this kind of layout now. The diagram has fitted to some kind of a layout that has some paper size here and a viewport here. So it is different from the model. Model is an infinite space. You can see this is an infinite space. You may not want to print everything that we have here because this is an infinite space. So when you come to layout, it will just check the space that you have worked on, and it can crop out the unnecessary infinite space that you don't need. So from the layout, I can right click and come to the page setup manager, and I can select the layout one here and modify this layout. Here I can edit the plotter. Maybe I want this one to be Microsoft print PDF, print to PDF, or any other, maybe DWF if you want that. So I'll just keep Microsoft print to PDF. You can also edit the paper size. You realize this is a letter, the paper size. The paper size is this one in white. I can change this one to an A3 or an A4. Perhaps I want an A4. Can change that to an A4. You can see now the paper here has changed to an A4. You can see that diagram here. I can draw my orientation in portrait, and then I can just hit OK. And then I will close here to save the changes. Now you see now my paper is now an A4, and this diagram here appears funny. It is not fitting in my paper. Maybe you are told to print in an A3. That is how, by the way, you change. You can select A3 from that menu we have just closed there. So once I have my A4 paper here, you realize this one is not fitting. So how do you edit this diagram to fit in your paper size? That is what I will teach you now. So what you do, if I go to my home, okay, what you do, there are two modes here in this down box, these boxes below here. There's the paper mode and there's the model mode. So right now I'm in the paper mode. You can see it is paper here. In the paper mode, when I zoom in, it will zoom the paper. Okay. And then this block here will remain the way it is. Nothing is changing. It is just zooming the paper. But when I come to model, I click on that paper, it will change now to the model mode. In the model mode, I'll be zooming what is inside the viewport. You can see this is my viewport. The one in black is my viewport. So when I zoom, it will be zooming what is in my viewport. So if you want this one to fit in, the best way to do it is to come to paper mode and adjust your viewport first. So you can select the viewport, and then you can use these grips to move this viewport to fit into your paper. So just move your grips so that they can fit in your paper. So there we have it. So from there, once it is fitting in the paper, now I can come to the model mode. I can zoom in and out, my diagram in and out. I can even pan it, by the way. I can even pan it. Maybe this one would have worked better in portrait, in landscape, not in portrait, but it's okay. So, yeah, right there. So once you are comfortable with the way it appears in your paper, you can go right ahead and go to the layout, right click now, select plot this time. Plot will export these, and it will export Microsoft Print to PDF. If you want to export a different format, you can select a different one from here. If for some reason you may want to adjust your paper size again, you can do from here. But this one, I'll just keep it and just hit OK. You can see it is processing something there, and then it has given this box for save print output. So I can save this print output as my model. I can just call it my model 1. I can save it in documents. There's no problem. So once I save it, you can see it is processing something, and then it says here plot and publish job has been completed. So when I go back to my document now, come to my document right here, I will see my model PDF there. So model, my model 1 here. So it is a PDF file, and this is what we have just exported. This is what we have just exported. I can print this one. So if I want to print, I will just print this one in an A4. But you can see it comes with the viewport. Sometimes you don't need this viewport because it was not part of your drawing. You can remove that viewport, by the way, by just coming and creating a layer. I can come here to my layer properties. Let me go back to the model. So in the layer properties, I can add a layer, and I will call this new layer viewport because I want to remove this viewport. So I will call it viewport, and then I can move my viewport. This one, I'll just move it to that layer of viewport. Sorry. I am in model mode. That is why I'm zooming everything. So let me change back to paper mode. So I will select that viewport, and then I will move it to the layer viewport. So it has been moved to the layer viewport now. Now from there, I can freeze this layer. So you realize now the viewport has disappeared because I have frozen the layer. Now, if I plot, if I come and plot now, and I will just hit OK. I will save it as my model 2 now as a PDF document, again in documents. So once I save it, I will go back to my documents. So when I go back to my documents, I will see my document 2 somewhere. It is here. Now you see this one does not have the viewport. It is different from my model 1, which had a viewport. It now does not have a viewport. So that is how you print. You work out on printing in AutoCAD. So layout is used in printing when you want to start printing now. Okay, so sometimes you may realize these colors here. You realize AutoCAD is a black. It has this black background, just for the reason of making you work for long hours without your eyes having some complications, maybe small straining. Your eyes may work if your interface is very. Your eyes may ache if your interface is very light. So they have it in black, but you realize when you go to the layout, it changes to white. For some reason, some colors may be hidden here. If you pick some color like maybe a color like yellow, in this black, it may appear very yellow and very visible. But when you come to the layout, it is because the background is white, the color may be faint. The yellow may not be very visible. So you can come to the layer properties manager here. And from the layer properties manager, we have this color here, and then we have also the viewport color. So I can change maybe the doors, I want them in my viewport in a different color. So I'll just give them a different color from here. Maybe I want them in green. I can give my doors green, and then I can just hit OK. And in my viewport, my doors now will be green. Okay, so that is how you change. That is the difference between this color here and the viewport color. So that is what I wanted to teach you guys for today. So that is what we covered. We have covered for the part 3. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the text, the text box, so that I can be able to read them and maybe work on some things that I may need to improve so that I can serve you better. So have a great rest of your day.